Hello everyone, we are from University of Jember. We are going to present our paper entitled Literature as a Medium of Gender Literacy, Innovative Learning for Equitable Education. Before we go into the presentation, let me introduce our members. Here are Zahratul Umniyyah, Yanwaresti Kusuma Wardani, Desi Aprilia, and Nurul Indah Rizky Amelia. Gender inequality in Indonesia remains evident, particularly in education. Women still face stereotypes, subordination, and limited access, which perpetuate discrimination and obstruct equal and inclusive education. Literature was chosen as a medium because it functions as a social mirror that captures the reality of society, including women's experiences in the face of injustice, through literary works. Persistent gender bias in education. Curriculum and teaching methods are often gender neutral, overlooking perspective of equality. And the second, literature undervalued, seen mainly as entertainment, though it reflects women's experiences, discrimination, and resistance. The third one is limited innovation in teaching. Literature classes still rely on lectures and text analysis, rarely fostering gender awareness. And the fourth one, risk of bias reproduction. Without critical learning, students may continue to observe and perpetuate gender stereotypes. Literary learning must go beyond aesthetic appreciation, as literature reflects women's experiences, discrimination, and resistance to patriarchy. Without a gender perspective, it risks reinforcing social bias, leaving students to enjoy stories without grasping their injustice. Innovation is needed to make literature a transformative medium that builds gender awareness, empathy, and critical thinking for inclusive, equality-based education. Gender literacy is the feminist-aware reading of texts, recognizing women's portrayals, injustice, and acts of resistance. Literature serves not only as an aesthetic work, but also as a medium for women's voices and a tool for social critique against discrimination and patriarchy. Indonesian novels also serve as a media for gender literacy. For example, Siti Nurbaya by Marah Rusli portrays forced marriage and patriarchal control. Saman by Ayu Utami exposes silence issues of women's bodies and sexuality under the new order. And Tarian Bumi by Oka Rusmini critiques case traditions that subordinate women. And Cantik itu Luka by Eka Kurniawan depicts sexual violence from colonial to post-independence era. Together, these works show that literature not only offers narrative beauty but also documents gender injustice across time. Integrating gender literacy, shifting from aesthetic or structural approaches to reading literature through feminist perspective. Cross-era Indonesian works from Siti Nurbaya to Tarian Bumi and Perempuan Bersampul Merah, highlighting the continuity of gender issues in local contexts. Innovative methods beyond text analysis, using interactive discussions, gender reviews, role plays, and digital storytelling that blend humanities literacy with creative technology for future-ready education. And the last one, global relevance, positioning Indonesian literature within international academic and cultural discourse. The novelty of this idea is offering a literary learning model with a gender perspective. While studies often focus on aesthetic or structure, feminist approaches are rarely applied in classroom practice. By integrating gender literacy, literature becomes a medium for social reflection through creative methods, interactive discussions, drama, and digital storytelling. This innovation, still uncommon in Indonesia and globally, contributes to advanced humanities education in line with future-ready learning. The four novels, Siti Nurbaya, Saman, Tarian Bumi, and Cantik itu Luka, depict gender injustice in forms just such as forced marriage, patriarchal control, repression of women's bodies, caste restrictions, and colonial-rooted sexual violence. Through their female characters, these works function both as aesthetic creations and social mirrors that expose discrimination and highlights resistance. As teaching materials, they foster students' critical awareness of gender issues, reveal how bias operates in society, and instill appreciation for equality and social justice. In literary learning, gender-based text analysis enables students to read works from a feminist perspective. Here are the opinion from Mansur Fakih views gender injustice as a social construct that can be transformed through education, while Alfian Romansyah outlines key concept of gender and feminism as analytical tools. Ulviani reveals how patriarchal ideology operates in text, requiring feminism to dismantle unequal power relation. And Jatineksi stresses gender-based education to build early awareness of equality, and yet me of advances feminist literary criticism, focusing on women's representation in characters, narrative, and context. Together, this perspective positions literature as both as an aesthetic medium and a space for fostering critical awareness of bias, discrimination, and women's struggles, aligning with the aim of equitable education. Creative projects enable students to engage with gender issues in literature interactively and reflectively. Gender reviews train them to critique women's representation and power relations, while drama or role play let them embody female characters and reflect critically. Digital storytelling through videos, podcasts, or infographics amplifies messages of gender inequality with creative media suited to digital generation. The diagram illustrates the wide impact of gender literacy through literature. For students, it builds gender awareness, empathy, critical thinking, and a sense of justice. In education, it promotes inclusive innovation and equity in learning. For society, it fosters participation in gender issues and challenges stereotypes. At the intersection of these impacts, future generations emerge who are inclusive, equitable, and prepared for global challenges, aligned with the visions of for future-ready education. Literature is more than entertainment. It can serve as an educational tool to instill critical values and social awareness. Through gender literacy, students learn to recognize injustice, discrimination, and women's struggles, making literature a real contribution to equitable education. This model is expected to extend beyond universities to schools and literacy communities, fostering a generation sensitive to equality and social justice. The literature should be seen beyond its aesthetic value, as it also carries a vital social function. Through stories, characters, and conflicts, it reflects injustice and invites critical reflection. In this way, literature becomes a medium of struggle for justice that would enrich aesthetic experience and foster social awareness and change. Okay, and that is all of our presentation. Thank you so much.